Yeah, I heard about this so-called virus. I think it's some kind of college prank.
Here we are again.
Yep, this is the Joe Rogan experience.
Oh, no.
Hello.
Divvying out more bottles of cum.
What?
Ew.
No, it's wholesome childhood content time.
Last time we talked about Scooby Doo, well, the time before last, we talked about jars of cum. I don't know.
Oh,
if you guys
I mean,
remember.
I guess we did. I do
And
remember
bull
that
testicles.
I do not remember that.
I've repressed it.
then. It happened.
Well, I mean, it got us some somewhat internet clout, so I wouldn't.
So here we are, then back in our niche. We're
Yes.
talking about Scooby Doo Cyberchase.
You wanted the best. You asked for the best. More Scooby Doo content on the Crosscut Cinema podcast.
People have been commenting like, "Do you guys even like Scooby Doo anymore?" And like, yes, we do. Here we are to prove it to you.
Literally our one niche.
We just watched Scooby Doo Cyberchase.
Yeah, Scooby Doo and the Cyberchase.
I'm Frani.
I'm Bri.
I'm Madison.
I'm Joe Rote. No, I'm kidding. I'm Logan.
Close enough.
He's
Joe
joking.
Logan.
I'm Ro Logan. Anyway, yeah, we're here to do the cyber chasing.
Yeah, we're chasing some cybers around.
You might hear my dog in the background. I don't know, but my dog keeps escaping.
It just adds to the Scooby Doo experience.
Yeah, just
is that
Earth.
you just hear little
She's asking for
earthing
some
back in the
Scooby
background.
snacks.
Oh, God.
Ruh-roh.
Raggy.
Yeah.
Drinking my White Russian.
So are we going to tell the plot?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
we
like,
take it away,
give
Madison?
give it a quick little rundown.
What's that dog's name in this? I can't remember.
You know what?
I think
I fucking hate myself for that.
Is it Melvin? Is it Melvin Doo?
The last podcast, Franny, we were talking about Jackie
damn it.
But
No.
and she goes, "Who's the girl in the movie named?"
Can you tell I was overthinking it?
But don't worry, the comments came for us for girls.
For everyone.
Except
You
for
guys
me.
were mean.
It's usually.
I'm
the
pretty
best.
sure. I feel like I understood this movie. I just want to say that. But
We're not here.
apparently
We're not here to retort. I just
Apparently not. No, I'm not here to debate it with you. But wow, guys, you're mean. Just
Yeah.
kidding. I love it and crave it. Okay. Anyway, Scooby Doo and the Cyberchase. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase.
And the Cyberchase.
So when this movie came back around 2000, 2001, I can't remember the exact year. It came out with a PlayStation 1 video game that actually was like, I guess you could say, campaigned with it. This video game took up my entire summer. I loved Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase for PlayStation 1, and I remember the graphics being amazing, and now when you look at it, it's not. But it was a seriously fun game, and the way the levels work in the movie actually coincided with the game.
That's
So
fun.
The operative of the game was find some Scooby snacks, and if you don't, this phantom virus. I almost said the Phantom Menace, like Darth Maul.
Darth Maul's just there.
Darth Maul's like, I may have been in a shitty movie, but I'm going to be in this great subpar Scooby-Doo video game.
Darth Maul pops out and he's got his double lightsaber and
Yeah.
he's like zoom zoom. And Scooby Doo's just like zoinks.
I would have made you all Siths too if it weren't for that meddling dog. But no, so the game's operations were in the exact same thread as the movie. You go through a world, you get a box of Scooby snacks, and you advance. And essentially, you'd shoot Scooby snacks, which was also weird, but you like attack samurai and cowboys and Roman arenas and all that other shit, and it was so much fun. But the movie is really fun. I mean,
The movie is so much fun.
It's so fun. I love it.
So Franny asked what the plot was, and I guess I'll do that really quick. I mean, it's a Scooby Doo movie, so like it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So basically, the gang is going to go and see their friend who's at college.
Ryan. Right?
Is it? No, I think it's Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, it's Eric.
Someone said something about Ryan. I think it was a joke that somebody made.
I think somebody did make a joke about Ryan somewhere,
Yeah.
but I don't know what it was
Yeah,
about.
I don't remember.
They're classically, I think we called him ruggedly handsome
Yeah,
friend
he's pretty
Eric.
handsome. His name's
Yeah,
Eric.
He is.
He's literally a
I don't know if I
cartoon.
would call him rugged, but I would definitely call him handsome.
Yeah.
You know that meme of where it's like, is this an insult? Where like the guy's pointing at a butterfly? He looks just like that guy.
He does a little bit.
Oh my god, he does.
But like in a handsome, chiseled way.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
anyway,
Chiseled. I didn't mean rugged. I went chiseled.
chiseled different
Gotcha.
than
What's the
rugged.
difference between rugged and chiseled? Does it like have to do with the face more than the body?
Chiseled is like really good bone structure. Rugged is like
More of the vibe, honestly, with Rugged.
And
It's like
you could have like just come out of the woods.
Yeah.
Like Kurt Russell, rugged.
Kurt Russell just came out of the woods.
I wish.
We like look at the woods behind our place. Whoa, Kurt Russell. Wow.
Kurt Russell, you're here.
Yeah, wow, dude. What's up?
Bridget, I'm sorry for what's about to happen. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you leaving me for Kurt Russell?
you're no longer boyfriend and girlfriend.
No. But anyway, so their friend Eric, he's in college. He designs video games, and he's made one featuring his close good friends, the Scooby Doo Mystery Gang.
Mystery Inc.
Mystery Inc. Yeah. So, and the game is called Scooby Doo and the Cyberchase. But oh no, when they get there, there's this computer virus come to life through this laser beam. It doesn't matter how it works. It doesn't make any sense, and that's fine. He's come to life. He's chasing him around and stuff. And eventually he and the gang get zapped into the video game. They have to, in order to get out, play through all the levels and defeat the virus monster dude. And once they do, and while they're in there, they're running through the levels. They're collecting Scooby snacks. They're beating the dude. It's a lot of fun. They meet their video game doppelgangers, like versions of themselves, and then they all have to work together, and that's tons of fun.
Which interesting thing that was pointed out at the beginning of the movie, everybody kind of made note of the fact that the Mystery Inc. gang kind of looked like a little too modern for our taste, but that was really just a choice to kind of contrast
Yeah,
the
so
later
you could
game.
differentiate them.
I actually ended up liking that choice a lot. Like, I didn't like how they looked, but I did like that we came back full circle to the original.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have to team up with their video game selves. They beat the monster and they come out of the video game. And then of course we have the sort of unmasking moment that Scooby-Doo's always have, where they discover that it was Eric's baseball obsessed
Spoiler alert.
lab partner.
By the
Billy.
way, they don't waste time because they have so much time they have to cover in the game, like pulling up your possible group of suspects. One is an anti-vaxxer security guard.
He doesn't believe in this virus.
It's some kind of college prank.
Oh, God.
I'm a police officer, basically. This is my university, State University. And then there's also the Doofenshmirtz type, like.
I thought they were going for
lab
like
professor.
an Einstein-y kind of vibe because he has like the bushy white hair.
I say Doofenshmirtz because he's that cartoonishly like ridiculous. And
Doofenshmirtz
is
Evil Incorporated.
Yeah,
With
but-
his
Mentally, I'm there.
oh my! I saw one thing and it was like my body's not a temple; it's a Doofenshmirtz Evil Inc.
Yeah.
God.
I feel it.
And
And
then
the sweet was the load that was like I didn't know like the tri-state areas were a thing. I thought that was just in Phineas and Ferb.
You live in a tri-state area.
No, I didn't say that. I saw a tweet that said that.
Oh,
so the general idea is either Eric, right? That's his name.
Yeah, Eric.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
with his horribly racist accent.
Yep,
I don't know if I would call it racist, but it's not good.
It's not great.
Glenn Beck or
Glenn Beck.
or
My dad loves Glenn Beck.
oh gosh. Well, that's
That's a fact.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Glenn Beck, what's up?
Jesus Christ.
Give her on a shout out.
The duality of my dad to be able to love both Glenn Beck and me.
Good man.
He really is. I love him. This is not a call out for him.
He wouldn't hear it anyway,
It's
but
just,
yeah.
right. But it's just true.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Okay, all right. Anyway, this seems like more of a therapy session all of a sudden. We're moving on now.
Is it ever not?
Like, honestly, I don't even see my therapist anymore. I just do this every week and I'm good.
Wow, that sounds great. Sounds healthy. Good.
I'm kidding. I still see my therapist.
But yeah, so you've got this scientist man, you've got Eric, you got the security guard, and then you've got his lab partner friend who also is making a video game that is being entered. One of their video games is going to be entered into the science competition for which they stand to win like $500,000 or something.
Which
$250,000.
Oh, whatever.
So there's been science invented where they can zap things into the digital world.
Right, that's how they get zapped in.
That's in this movie. That exists in this movie.
Yeah. Yes. It does. Like, and then so that's Dude's game. That's Eric's game, and then Billy's game is like baseball.
Yeah. I like how at one point they call it a science fair that they're going to, not like a competition or like
science fair.
Science fair. It's the International Science Fair.
That just gave me a good giggle.
The HD transfer of this movie looks pretty good.
This movie actually looks pretty crispy. It looks pretty good.
They're still in the full screen ratio, but overall, like for it being a 20-year-old movie, essentially, it looks pretty good.
I remember watching this on VHS, and it looks pretty shitty. So
yeah, this is definitely crispier than I remember it.
You see, I didn't really watch this as a kid, so like I don't have that comparison. I thought it was great.
I'd say one detriment this movie has, unlike other Scooby Doo movies, is that, granted, the mystery's always usually pretty easy to solve, but this one was like, bitch, if you don't know who did this. The whole time they pretty much were like, it's Bill! Bill's the mean guy.
Madison at one point goes, I think it might be Bill.
And we're just, me and Frani just look at each other like, this dumb bitch, I swear.
I've been like kind of thinking from the beginning, trying to figure out if I remembered. And then I was like, oh, it's got to be Bill, though.
It was just
right off the bat, it's like, this is a home run. Free ball. Go team. Striking out. I like baseball. Did I tell you I like baseball? Baseball's the shit. Benchwarmers is my favorite Rob Schneider film. Like,
as opposed to all the other Rob Schneider films that I know and love.
Yeah, well, that's the only one that involves baseball, so there you go.
Rob Schneider.
Oh, Rob Schneider. We should review Benchwarmers. Let's do it.
I don't want to.
I feel like we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, but it actually is terrible. It's a terrible movie.
It's really bad.
But
I was thinking of. No.
We will review Waterboy. That's factual.
Waterboy. That's the one I was thinking we've talked about.
We have to review it.
It's
a
we
meme at this
can,
point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Scooby Doo and the Cyberchase. What's fun to talk about in regards to it? Everything is exactly as it is definitely following the guide of what Scooby Doo films and TV shows should be.
Yeah,
it is absolutely like following that platform unapologetically.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes it good. Like, and there is in this movie sort of a, I don't want to say like a supernatural element, but there is something a little different when it's
which is generally how the films are.
Yeah, where it's not like a dude in a mask. It's a actual monster, a virus personified.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it does that, which is different than like Scooby Doo TV shows are.
But that kind of brings it into like the new age and the new media.
It's still really fun versus like other Scooby Doo movies, which try to, have these moments.
Well, pretty much just one Scoob.
Yeah. And this movie did a lot of things that Scoob tried and failed to do. Like,
successfully.
Yeah. So, like, there's a scene in this movie, Cyberchase, where they're in a, prehistoric jungle type thing, and there's a pterodactyl that they have to, deal with, and a T-Rex and such. And like also in Scoob, there's a prehistoric jungle scene, and then we get to meet
Captain Caveman. Captain Caveman could have been in this, and it would have actually been better and made more sense.
Yeah, it would have actually been a little funny.
The game would insinuate that he is a fictional character, not that he exists.
Right.
So
yeah, so like it does that like prehistoric thing very well. Sorry.
No, you go.
But yeah, I think this movie does the sort of like time world hopping thing like well, and in a way that's fun. And then Scoob, it just feels like tedious and boring. And why are we doing this?
And the other thing, they knew when to cut the fat. They were like, let's just have a montage, montage.
Right.
And I like the montage. I thought it was fun.
The movie is a little short. I get that some animated films are, but I feel like we could have really used another 30 minutes. I would have been happier.
Yeah, I would have liked it.
But
something I really wanted that we kind of got but didn't get from this movie is once they meet the doppelgangers, like their cyber selves, I kind of would have really liked a scene where they all have to like split up and run around, like it maybe in like a fun house or something like that.
Oh, you wanted the classic like running through doors scenes?
Like, and I wanted that, but with like 10 Scooby-Doo characters.
Oh yeah.
Like I just thought that would have been like a really fun, like cool scene to do, and like a cool nod to like, old Scooby Doo, but still
maybe that would have been
just
been too tired when that came out. Like maybe that would have been like too tired of a concept, but now it's like something we would look for.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think it would have been fun to have that, like, especially because there's like several of them, so you could have like fun moments of them like colliding into their other selves, and then you could have the monster looking around like, ooh, you know.
Speaking of the other selves moment, there's a pretty problematic one in
2020.
There's a moment in this film that just like the air in the room changed when it happened.
Yeah,
we did not like it at all.
Both Daphnes are like in this like,
it's like a fun house.
Yeah, but like not
and
like
it's filled with evil clowns.
Yeah. Ooh, good point. But there's like, you hear like
I see you. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You hear like Cyber Daphne. I forget which Daphne, but one goes, "Oh no," and the other one goes, "What?"
Cyber Daphne.
Cyber Daphne, and she's like, "I'm fat," and she's like looking in a funhouse mirror that like makes her look fat.
Which implies both that vanity matters more than anything to her, and that also she's stupid enough to think that a fucking funhouse mirror is her body.
And then like later, regular Daphne's like looking in like the mirror that makes you look skinnier and like flaunting it and
that was also Cyber Daphne.
Oh, it was.
But then the
both
thing that
problematic.
No, the most problematic thing was what they said to each other.
Yeah, the thing that really gets me is she's like, "No, you look perfect."
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, "Oh, thanks," and I'm just like, "That's a bad message."
There's like so much to unpack here. It just did not. It's not good. It
but again, it was 2001 or something like that, right?
I mean, it was 2001.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, still, like, this is like a movie that like young
Let's not
girls.
forget that this wasn't made by children. These adults made this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
They still understand this.
Right. And like, especially because like young girls are watching this movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Scooby Doo's always was very unisex for kids. I think both sides of the aisle can enjoy it.
Yeah. I definitely love Scooby Doo a lot.
Also, they kind of I don't know, the creeper being the one in that scene too is also just kind of like, that was like the most prominent Scooby Doo villain, and we're gonna have him fall down a fun slide after they talk about their body impurities. Like and the way they fucking trapped him 5 seconds before. We found a trap door. Ooh, I'm ugly. Oh, let's get to that trap door so we can get rid of the creeper.
Right.
That was not fun or inventive, and he does not come back.
Yeah, and like and I just think, you know, the scenes of them like running around the carnival doing weird stuff just could have been stronger. Like, I think it could have been more fun, but instead it was just like, instead of like them kind of running around, which is kind of what I would want, it was just like, here's what the Daphnes are doing. Yep. Here's what the Scoobies are doing. Here's what the Freds are doing. And then flash back to the Daphnes. And then we get the Velmas.
And then there's the Shaggies with their vaudeville act.
Yeah. Which is fun, which I do enjoy. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
I'd say another thing that's really interesting with the movie is their use of magnets. I don't think the writers know how magnets work. They pull magnets out of a full metal drawer. That magnets at the bottom is like,
they pull magnets out of a full
we
metal
got these
alchemist.
magnets in this metal drawer over here, and I'm having no problem picking them up. And I'm like, dude, no, your fucking fingers would get caught in between the magnet and the drawer.
And as we were talking about when we watched this movie, Logan and I know from like deeply personal experience that shit hurts like a motherfucker.
It does. I've had one magnet in my left back pocket, and one in my right back pocket, and it squeezed my butt cheeks together like it was trying to juice me, and it did not feel good. I'm just saying, it's true. And we didn't even have powerful as magnets as these were. These are like super
palm
magnets.
of your hand. That shit hurts too.
Yeah, dude.
It happened to me all the time. And then just like the struggle, like Shaggy has this magnet in his pocket, and then it's revealed that he has it. And if you have a magnet in your pocket, you're getting stuck on every metal surface you happen to pass through.
But the moment it is removed from his titanium adamantium pocket
is when it begins to work.
His like corduroy pocket, like
yeah, all of them start fading away and shit. Like it's not
like glitching.
Like, yeah, I'm just saying that, like, if you have a strong magnet in your pocket, you are never not aware that you have a strong magnet in your pocket. If you forget for 2 seconds, you're getting attached to something, and then you're gonna have to remove yourself.
Mm-hmm. Especially one that's that fucking big. How big are those goddamn pockets?
It's a big ass magnet.
Huge, like forearm huge.
Me and Logan just like going off about our unique, like, niche escape room experiences.
But like also, this idea that Shaggy's pocket would be like so utterly fucking powerful, like it's the Infinity Gauntlet and shit. And the moment he whips that magnet out, all of his friends start to die in front of him.
Yeah, like it happened. I was like, no, you're killing them.
Another thing that's really apparent in this Scooby Doo movie is how little Fred does.
Yeah.
Besides just direct these motherfuckers around in the most obvious ways.
Fred is like, you were saying this, like Fred is like the most useless manager.
Yeah. Fred is like that manager at work that's like, all right, everybody's upset about sexual harassment. We're getting pizza. Like he's that manager. And the whole time everything's so downplayed and he's so calm about shit. And you're like, dude, move your ass.
There's this great moment. It's really, really funny. It's like the first place they go after they like get zooped into it's the second place because they first go to the moon. And then the next level that they do is like a Roman Colosseum type thing. And so there's two obstacles here. There are some like zombie skeleton like Roman dudes. And then there is a lion.
Why are the zombie skeleton people dead, but the lion is well and alive?
Yeah,
did he eat the people?
That's one you'd have to ask Eric.
Yeah, to me,
he made the game.
Excuse me, chiseled-faced man.
But anyway, so like, and the lion is what's guarding the Scooby snacks. Like he has them. So eventually they find this chariot, and for some reason Scooby is pulling Shaggy in this
because Shaggy got caught in
a net.
And every like car type item or item with the wheels is painted like the Mystery Machine.
And I thought that was a really fun little detail.
Even down to bumper cars in a later scene.
Yeah, it was funny.
Except for the Gator's car where he programmed a gator to be in it. Then looked like a gator.
That's
like
great.
I hate, but I also love.
Right. And then the two friends were in the Mystery Machine one.
Also, Jaguaro's in this movie. Sorry. Very strange. Anyway.
Love it. But yeah, so Scooby and Shaggy are sort of like giving these zombie soldiers the chase in this chariot. And, you know, they're quickly losing steam because Scooby is a dog, not a horse. And horses are what pulls chariots. And these guys are fast.
Not a Great Dane.
Right. And like Scooby being a Great Dane is treated very much like a horse. And Great Danes are not rideable.
You heard it here first, folks.
Don't ride your Great Dane.
Okay, like when I was a kid, when I was like a very young child, I had a babysitter that had like a big ass Great Dane, and like we always wanted to like climb on him because to us like he was horse sized.
Yeah,
and they were always like no,
yeah,
which is like fair, like you can't do that to him, but we didn't know.
And this is just encouraging children to climb on their dogs.
No, it's just funny to me. R.I.P. Frankie, you were a good boy. But anyway, so they're chasing them around, and meanwhile, Fred is trying to get the Scooby snacks from the lion. So eventually, he with the help of Velma and Daphne, like bullfighter this lion and back behind this cage. And like meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby are being run around this Coliseum and screaming in the background. And Daphne takes the moment to say, "Wow, Freddie, you were so brave." And he's like, "All shucks."
And they're like,
"Oh right, Shaggy and Scooby,
Randy, we're gonna die.
Here."
Daphne's being a thought.
And then Fred's like, "Here, take these poles so you can vault over into the stands of the Coliseum while I take another 5 to 10 minutes to retrieve the Scooby snacks that are dead center of this dome."
That nothing is nothing is
right. So there's nothing stopping him
from just grabbing them right
and
then and
repeatedly
there.
We see as soon as they grab the Scooby snacks, they're out of there.
And every time they grab the Scooby snacks, someone's about to fucking die.
Correct.
This is source code, bitch. Everybody's about to die in this game.
It's really
if you die in the
stressful.
game, you die for real. Like that is the mode of this movie.
Also, can we talk about what we've been talking about when we watched this movie?
Spy Kids?
Yeah, how similar this movie is to Spy Kids.
Which
Spy
it came
Kids-
out. Yeah.
So
Spy Kids came out after.
Spy Kids is a little ripoff, but
Yeah, Spy Kids 3 specifically.
Yeah.
we should just review the Spy Kids movie.
I
My
love Spy Kids.
childhood. Can we review Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
No.
I
I would be
for
down.
that.
I love Spy Kids.
Well, we
though.
said if we review it, Ian comes back. So
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
That's true.
Hopefully, I'll actually be on the podcast.
I thought you were about to be like, hopefully Ian doesn't come back.
No, I want to meet him.
He's a cool guy.
He's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
No, Ian's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
You all liked him. You all miss him, I know. I don't know why, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, this movie's a lot like Spy Kids 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much exactly like Spy Kids 3D. Except Spy Kids 3D was too long for me because it's not good.
No, it was so
Spy
good.
Kids 3D is great.
The thumbs.
Oh my god, the thumbs!
3D,
I
are
forgot
they?
about the thumbs.
Are they not in 3D?
I think that's just
the thumbs are
first
just
and
in
second one.
Spy Kids.
All I know is they took out
Oh.
Carmen's the sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the more interesting character. and
Yeah,
she's
it
not in
was
the
a
whole
shame that
movie.
she wasn't there.
And then Junie is like a little puss, and I just can't stand him.
He is a little bitch,
I can't
isn't
stand
he?
his ass.
Wait, that's the one with George Lopez's floating head, right?
No, that's Shark Boy
That's
and Lava
Shark Boy and
Girl.
Lava Girl.
I get them all confused in my head.
Probably because
I
they all
like their-
suck
I need to
balls.
They're
rewatch
like the
them.
same movie to me.
No,
They're just,
shut up. Spy Kids is great.
You know, as a kid, all I wanted was Shark Boy to
I like the
just
second one,
appear in my
Buscemi.
room like he
Oh,
does.
what?
I like the second one. Buscemi's
I like
there.
that one too. I like the first and second one a lot.
The
3D
first
is
one
just fun.
is not aged well. I mean, at all. Even by like kids' movie standards, it's not good. It's
Nah,
not good.
it's great. It's a
Bad.
classic.
It's really bad.
Speaking of kids' movies,
This one.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, what else is there to say? Like, it's
It's so exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah.
I'll say, what's another thing I really liked about it? You know, the music choices in it, like the few music choices
Yeah.
they do are really cool. The sound
Yeah.
mixing of the cyber characters is really fun. They made like the cyber characters have like a slightly like tuned voice, to,
which
like,
is
the
also
cyber.
nice since this movie's target audience is not us, it's kids.
well, I think
That's
kids
kind
can
of-
figure it out though.
I know,
mean,
but it's like a nice thing, like we were saying, like if you didn't have subtitles on to tell who's talking when the screen's not on them.
yeah, I mean, like, it's Scooby Doo, you know. Like, there are things in it that don't make any damn sense, like the whys and hows of this like cyber zapping.
You don't need them. You don't need the whys. You
like
don't need
Logan's,
the hows.
Like Logan's like, it's so they can store things, and I'm like, you can store things other places.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not like the world is out of
using
storage
I was
space.
using the. Oh, they have a very strong opinion on GMOs in this film.
Yeah, I know they do.
They see these giant ass tomatoes, and they were like, "Don't eat those. These were made with radioactive blah blah blah." And I was like, "Damn, GMOs coming for them right now." The whole
yeah.
movie, it's just good. I mean, there's the thing about this one.
State University.
State University.
State University.
The college they go to is at State University.
Just SU.
I think we made a joke that was like, what's your school mascot? It's just like animal.
Animal,
can you imagine
the
like
capitals.
you know they do those things for like when you're going to college and high school.
Yeah.
When you're graduating, they're like, "What college are you going to?" And you like make a little plat, like a
Yeah.
little flag or whatever. Like, can you imagine?
Just
State.
SU. State University. I hate it.
But yeah, it's like fun to like watch them run around this like college campus, and the things that are like that don't make any sense. Like, it's Scooby Doo, so like, what do I care? You know, it's just fun and silly. It's silly Scooby Doo running around, being crazy. You know, fighting a villain. Fun times.
Hell yeah.
Right. And it almost feels like an episode. Just because of the length, I feel, but like also it still like stands up by itself as
Yeah.
a movie, and that's nice.
You saw one of the first early interpretations of a tough Daphne in this film, which was interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's such a good moment.
And the dude just got scared and ran away.
Yeah, I mean, this movie did give us sort
Further
of like.
cucking Fred for the infamy of the fucking for the rest of the franchise forever.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say like this movie does like kind of like it sort of kind of makes these characters into like sort of what their modern iterations are, especially with the live action movies. So, like Daphne's got a little bit of a tough side to her. She's not so much of a dummy, and then Fred is infinitely more of a dummy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I
What?
love.
What else is there to say about it? The thing is, we liked it. Like that. Like we're really
Yeah.
good about, and it's not that long. So there's not like so much to say about it as much as just like us kissing at it. I look forward to when we talk about the other films, because this one is kind of right down the middle and like has its kind of method down. But films like Spooky Island and the one with the fucking witches, the hot lesbian witches, the
Ah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm talking
Yeah.
those are a bit
Hex
more
Girls,
wacky. Or I
those.
know Alien Invasion is actually what is rated like the number one Scooby Doo movie, which we have as well, or Aliens Attack or Invaders Attack or whatever. With this one, this is just kind of my seminal Scooby Doo. Like I said, like I played the game endlessly. I watched the movie all the time because when you bought the game, you got the movie with it. And it's just solid and kind of at the time very original content. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's very much like this is Scooby Doo as you know Scooby Doo to be. We're not trying to do anything different. We're just making a Scooby Doo movie here.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like it does introduce new things to it, and it like gives the characters kind of a new look and brings them to the modern age.
And it's one of the first ones where you're getting a sense of like nostalgia bait. Like they throw the old monsters at you.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, movies in like the 2000s, like they didn't really think to like, oh, let's throw in all the fan bait you possibly can. Like that's just such a standard practice now. Like Captain Caveman, whoa, can't believe he's in Scoob. I'm so excited. But Cyberchase threw that in there when people didn't really know they wanted it, as well as like the old styles of the characters, which is very effective because at the beginning of the movie, everybody was sitting around like, man, I don't like the way they look. I miss the way they used to look. And then the movie gives it to you like, bitch, you asked for it. You got it. The best in the world. Sorry, it's a corn reference. Like, or not corn, Kiss reference. I keep making, but yeah, the movie itself is like exactly what you want.
Yeah, and then yeah, like you can see like how other Scooby Doo movies subsequently have either like picked up like sort of the threads of this movie and like the way that they take to modernize it, and then also like have dropped the ball at like Scoob.
Yeah, Scoob, or I'm sure a plethora of fucking cartoon movies. Like,
Right.
I'm not really looking forward to the one with Emerald. I don't think it's going to be a good time, but we're still going to watch it. We're hopefully going to watch just all of it.
I would love to. Hopefully by the time we get through them, there'll be a new Scooby Doo movie out for us to
Have I done enough impressions for the video? Do I need to do more impressions, Raggy? Like, if I filled out the quota? I don't know if I've done it really. I mean, what's another great thing we commented on while we're watching the movie? I mean, I don't know. It kind of, I feel like we kind of got it. You know what I mean?
I feel like we had
I mean, I can't like stress enough. Like, it's actually quite funny.
Yeah, it's really a good movie.
I mean, it has its really funny moments. It's like a low stakes,
and like even if you don't have like more than just the standard Scooby Doo nostalgia, like I watched some of them, but I didn't really like watch a ton of them as a kid. You still like this movie? Like it throws back to a lot of fun stuff, and it's just a fun time.
I think the best thing about Scooby Doo is it's absolutely like when you're a kid, you obviously can watch it isolated and by yourself. But Scooby Doo is one of those franchises that really has a fun group watch mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
Even Scoob, which was fucking horrendous, we had a good time watching all together.
Yeah. Are we gonna say who we are in this movie?
Okay. I think that no, you guys go first.
I mean, wouldn't it be the same as there are in any Scooby Doo?
No, because there's additional characters now,
Well,
and
I guess
also
that's true.
characters have changed. This Fred is nothing like the live action Fred.
No.
This Fred's somewhat competent and not a total fucking skis bag.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who likes baseball, and of course, when he goes, baseball is one of my favorites, and me and Franny goes, of course it is.
we said
Like
it
at
at
the exact same time.
It was
I'm
gross. Yeah, we know.
I think we always say that I'm Daphne.
That's very accurate.
Especially after the canoe trip.
Shut up.
Oh yeah, the canoe trip. You guys
Bridget.
want to tell that? Since this is kind of running to be a very We Love Scooby Doo episode, why don't you go ahead and tell that story?
So, okay, let's
Unrelated to Scooby Doo and the Cyberchase, there was Madison and Bridget and the creek chase.
Oh God. Okay, so
the paddle chase.
So let's take it back to when I was a child for a minute. let's go all the way back to when I was about 12, 13. My family went on this canoeing trip, and it's ranking up there with like one of the worst days of my life. It was just bad. It was a bad time. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. The canoe tipped. We all hated each other by the end. Items were lost, etc. So can I just say, I feel like since we watched Split the other day, this is totally not relevant. I feel like I've been saying etc. like a lot more.
Etc.
etc.
Your fucking Hedwig over there. Etc.
I feel like I've been peppering in my etc.
You look at Bridget like, you're my girlfriend, etc. I haven't cheated on you, etc. You're my best girlfriend ever, etc.
But anyway, so like that was a really bad time, and I haven't been canoeing since because it was such a terrible time. That was the one and only time I ever went. But I got this idea in my head.
Like out of the blue.
This was fully my idea.
It really
I got
was.
this idea in my head that I wanted to go canoeing. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know.
Instagram.
We're kind of in an area where canoeing is
Yeah.
kind of a popular thing
Yeah,
to do.
and I like keep seeing people on the gram doing it, and like
Yeah.
it looks like they're having a lot of good fun.
There's like 2
That
canoe places
gram.
near us. Like it's
This is
popular
why, and
in our
This
area.
is honestly why you shouldn't like try to live your life based on what your friends on social media are doing.
It's a message with a
Yeah,
Because-
but it just looks like it, and like I was like, I think then it was just because we were kids, we didn't know what we were doing. Our parents were tasked with wrangling 5 kids between the two of them. And I was like, I want to try it again. I just think it would be really fun if me and Bridget went canoeing.
The night before they go, I just want to say
And then
this.
I was also feeling this like sort of nostalgia for the summer I was missing because of
Yeah.
COVID. And I was like, canoeing would be a fun thing.
They're at my place. They're at our place, I should say.
Yeah.
And they go, it can't be as
Not
bad.
they. Madison says.
Yeah, I was
What you got? What's yours is hers, and hers is yours. So.
and I was saying that I was a little nervous because of my past experiences.
Well, no. What you said was it can't be as bad as last time.
She said we can only go up from here.
So we start canoeing and we're having a good time. It's pretty smooth sailing. We're just kind of like floating down the river, and it's like really nice and relaxing, and it's just like very beautiful and serene. And then we hit a little bit of rapids, and as you know, rapids are as you probably know,
They're rapid.
are a little bit more shallow, and there's rocks, and so we got caught on a rock. And so we were stuck, and we didn't really know. We're obviously not experienced canoers, as I've made clear. And some people in the kayak pass us by, and they're like, you should just like get out and turn the tip of it, and then you should be good. And we're like, okay. And so Bridget gets out. I don't know why she gets out. I'm the heavier person, but she got out.
I don't know. It just seemed like the thing to do.
And I'm also at the back, so I'm like weighing the back of this canoe down. And so like she gets out, she turns the top, and away I go. Like I'm as soon as that happens, like the current starts to be able to take me again because I'm like not stuck on the ground anymore. And I'm just in this canoe by myself, and I'm like leaving Bridget behind. And so and Bridget's like not in the canoe with me, obviously. So I eventually like take my oar and I like stick it down and like in order to stop the canoe so that Bridget can catch up to me. And then she does, but then the problem is because I did what I just did, I'm stuck again.
Yes.
So she gets back out of the canoe to turn it again, and again I start going.
And she panics and she said,
well, I was worried. I didn't want to leave you behind because like there was nothing I could do. So I was like, Bridget, you need to get in this canoe like yesterday. You need to be in it now. And so she's like, I'm sitting in the back of the canoe, and I'm trying to like not move too much so that she can get in it. And I'm trying to like kind of keep the canoe fairly stable. And Bridget sort of goes and she like puts like a leg in, and as she moves her weight to that leg, which is in the boat then subsequently tips in that direction with me inside of it going fully upside down. I'm submerged in water now, and I come up, and like this is like kind of like it felt like a movie moment, honestly, because like I had my eyes open under the water and it was very murky, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? But then I come up and I'm like laughing, I'm giddy that I'm like still alive after all that, and Bridget's like, oh my god, your phone. And it's because my phone's in the bag that was in the canoe.
I had just
which
told
is
her
no
to put it in the
longer in the
baggie.
canoe because it's floating down river.
along with Bridget's pants,
Yeah,
right?
along with
Yeah,
Bridget's
it was my pants. I was wearing a bikini,
along
but
with
it was
Frani and Logan's
still.
cooler that we had borrowed. And
Which, by the way, has electrical in it, so it's definitely fucked now.
It's definitely fucked now.
R.I.P.
But anyway, so we managed to collect up all the stuff, and then Bridget somehow gets the canoe to shore while I'm just standing in the river panicking.
I've never seen her like this before.
Yeah, normally I'm pretty like cool in a crisis, but in this moment I was losing my mind.
I was the cool one. It was bizarre.
Yeah, and I'm like soaking wet, fucking freezing, standing in the river, just having a panic attack. And then eventually we get to shore, and then Bridget helps me get to shore. She literally has to come and like walk me to the shore.
Like literally, she had to use me as a walker.
Also because I got like bad foot disease, so like I couldn't balance on the river rocks and shit. But eventually we get to shore and we're like looking at all the stuff, and there's no oars.
Yeah, I watched those motherfuckers.
For those of you who
float
don't know,
down.
oars are paddles.
Yeah,
Some people don't know that.
There's no paddles. There's no
There's
no
creek.
devices with which to
Without a
move
paddle.
the canoe. Yeah, we have no
Also,
paddles.
we lost a life vest. I watched
a
a paddle and a life vest just float away, and I could do nothing about it.
And they're just in the middle of nowhere. It's not like this is like
as I was seeing this happen, I was like, Bridget, the oars. And she was like, I can't do anything about
I was like,
it.
I don't know what you want me to
I
do.
was like, you have to get them. We're stuck.
And I'm like, I literally cannot do that.
So yeah, we get to the shore.
You just
we
swim up the creek and then get caught in the fucking drift.
Yeah, so we get to the shore. We see that we have no paddles, and we don't know what to do, and we're panicking, and so we call 911.
I also want to say that I had just like maybe 3 days before that, I had had like the worst asthma attack I had had since like middle school or elementary. And like so much so that Madison had to come home early from work and take me.
you guys are just really testing your limits here.
Yes.
Maybe that's why I felt like we should do it. I was like, wow, Bridget just had this experience, and like we need to.
You know, I'm totally
I
putting
just
Without
wanted-
a Paddle, the film, in the thumbnail.
Yes.
And people are going to be like, is there going to talk about Without a Paddle? We're not.
No.
We're not.
I used to love that movie.
We're an anti-Seth Green podcast here.
So yeah, we had to call 911, and a sheriff's deputy shows up. I was also against calling
Like-
911. Like I was so mortified.
But there was like nothing else we could do, and like I knew Madison was not going to call 911, so
No,
I just
I
had to
wasn't.
walk away and call 911.
I didn't want to involve the law.
She looked at me and she was on the phone with her mom, and she said, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "I called 911," and she said, "Oh." She didn't really say that though, but
What
Yeah.
else could you do then?
like nothing.
Anything
Subsequently,
else.
no, we couldn't though.
So I want to say, like, calling 911 is very against my brand as a person.
Yeah,
And I recognize and understand that, like, I talk a big game, but I still call 911. But I want to say, as you'll see, this police officer did not do a lot to assist us. So he comes and he only talks to Bridget. Like, I'm not talking to this guy, not because like not for any particular reason. I just like can't.
and also like he wasn't coming to us.
Yeah, he didn't come down onto the shore where we were. He stood at the top of a hill by a house near the street and expected Bridget to climb that hill to talk to
which
him.
I did twice.
So I guess he talks to her and she comes back and she's like, he said, "I'll see what he can do." And I was like, I don't know what that means.
And I'm like, I don't either.
And so we wait for a while and this man comes back. Bridget goes up to meet him. And I watch him hand her 2 oars.
Good luck, bitches. You're back on the water. Get out there.
I love that.
Oh my God.
And Bridget comes back and I'm like, how'd it go?
What do you think you're going to do? You're going to turn around like the Jamaican bobsled team in Cool Runnings? You're just going to figure it out now?
And they only made it 2 miles on a 6-mile
Not even 2 miles.
So he gives her these oars and I'm like, Bridget, what's happening? And she's like, I told him I didn't want to do this anymore. And then I asked if somebody could come get us. And eventually, I guess we don't see this man again after that.
He said,
sends-
like, if you see me again, that means somebody's coming. Basically,
yeah, he's like, if you see me again, you have to canoe.
basically is what he said.
Instead of like, let's grab your boat, let's strap it to the car.
Nope.
You're fucked, ladies. Sorry.
No,
Like-
none of that from the county redacted sheriff's department.
No,
They said, "Good luck, bitches."
Right.
Here's your fucking paddle.
But eventually, some guy from the canoe place. Also, I do want to add, we're not like totally stupid. We did try to call the canoe place, and nobody answered.
Right. It's like an entirely automated system, and I was trying to get a live person. I like did every single option that I possibly could, and nothing, just automated. They're like, our hours are, our weather is. I'm like, fuck.
Like, save me, bitch.
They were also like, "Good luck, bitches." That's
But yeah, eventually some dude comes and he like grabs our canoe and starts legging it with it, and like we just have to follow him, and eventually we get back onto a bus and go
How
back
much
to our
shame
cars.
was there? How
A
much
lot.
shame?
Oh my god, so much shame.
Like probably like okay like you know how like in the Grinch his heart grows like 3 sizes that day?
Yeah.
Like my ego shrunk 3 sizes that day. Like we're all bad bitches until we flip a canoe, baby.
Then you're like, I need to call my mommy.
I did call my mommy. That was my first step.
To be fair, I called mine too. She just didn't pick up because she was at work.
No, I called my mommy and she was like, "What the fuck were you thinking? You remember how bad it was when we canoed that one time?"
And I like how when Madison and Bridget were telling us this, they go, "We're pretty outdoorsy, so we can."
I'm just like, okay.
Well, I didn't say that. Madison said that.
Oh, you
And
backed it
I
up. You're
said,
like, yeah.
no, I said well, we hike, but
Yeah, I mean, hiking doesn't require as much.
That doesn't
work
make you
as
Bear
doing.
Grylls, y'all.
But in any case, yeah, Bridget asked him, she was like, does this kind of thing happen often? And he said, yeah, but most people make it to the 2-mile mark. Just like
Just a fucking stab at you.
and like I just know that dude like came back and talked to his coworkers about
Talked
us.
so
yeah.
much
Talked
shit.
shit for days.
It's like, these fucking buffoons.
My favorite part.
like we had no business being in that canoe, and I know that now.
Madison took a great video of her full panic mode, and at one point you just see like her like roll her eyes and huff, and then you see like a bunch of teenage boys.
A bunch of it's so much worse that it's teenage boys too,
Right.
like her mortal enemy,
and they're
rolling
just
up
like
the creek.
kayaking by, like it's
Like
not
having a
even a
good
big
time.
deal.
They're doing TikTok dances and shit while they're rolling by. They're having a great time.
It's terrible.
Madison's just sitting there full panic. Bridget,
Her
no
face.
pants.
I wish you guys could
I-
see her face. It's so it was so fucking amazing.
It's a good
face.
video. Yeah, there's
I-
2 good videos that I took, and I like you can tell that I'm not the same person. Like I'm very scattered in them.
You just hear like
Like-
random chuckles at like moments that would break the soul. Like
Yeah,
in our
right.
oars are going.
I like how at one point like you're like talking to
I
Bridget, and
definitely,
you're like, "Don't cry, don't cry."
I think I said it this way. It's like, oh no, baby, please don't cry.
Because like you had the camera on Bridget like while you're filming,
She
so you're
could figure out how
talking.
to turn it around.
I've never seen Bridget look so fucking defeated. Her pants are gone.
She's
I had
ready
to
to
talk to the
cry.
sheriff like that. I had to talk to the sheriff like that.
And it was raining too.
Yeah,
It was
that's the other thing.
raining.
It was raining. It was.
And I just kept flashing back to the night before, her being like, "It can't be as bad as last time." And the thing I thought was, "Oh no, she's done it now."
My hubris.
Your arrogance.
And like you guys paid for this experience.
Oh yeah, we paid.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
pretty much
I was-
it's like $10 a mile essentially.
Although you didn't get a
Should have
pay
got
for
$40 back at least.
Maybe they kept it because we lost their oars.
And one of their life jackets.
I was actually worried that they were going to charge us for the oars.
But they just thought you guys were so fucking pathetic at that point.
right. Like at one point, I looked at Madison and I was like, "I will pay $1,000 to get out of this experience right now."
I think I said in the video that I took, I was like, I'm so embarrassed that I have to die. I think I said, like, after this is over, I'm going to get right with God and then just die.
You did.
Oh my god! So now that
and then I got an email from them like the next day, like, please tell us how your experience was. And I was like, I'm not going to go into it.
all right, so now that we've done Madison and Bridget in the paddle race, we should review Scooby Doo and the Cyberchase.
Yeah.
Okay. God, that's a great story though.
Yeah.
Anyway, who wants to go first?
I give this movie an A.
Wow.
It was good. I liked it. I liked watching it. Well, actually, I'll give it like an A minus.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna give it a 8.5.
7.
7.
Yeah, it's
Fuck
a good
yeah.
movie. It's fun.
All right, so we're gonna
Take a break.
do a little reading of an ad again, and then we'll go ahead and then after that get on to Prisoners.
It's gonna be less fun in here. I think.
Another kids movie.
No.
I mean, in a way,
It's a movie about kids.
Yeah.
Great for the whole family.
We'll be back.
Bye.
what if every time you spilled your popcorn or soda on your shirt, it just kind of like blended in?
Street Stains is a hella original clothing brand that allows you to wear your stains with pride. Shop www.streetstains.com for art and apparel.
You can also check them out on Instagram at street_stains. Again, thank you so much to our friends at Street Stains for sponsoring this episode of the Crosscut Cinema Podcast.
You can use the coupon code BooLovesYou, BOOLOVESYOU for 15% off site-wide.
Thank you guys so much.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Hello.
Being different.
Gotta
here to-
show us up.
Oh, so
Yep.
after we talked about a children's film, let's talk about a children abduction film. This is Dennis Villeneuve's, in my opinion,
Is
one
that
of
how
his
you say it, Villeneuve?
Villeneuve, yes.
He's
I like it.
He's like
French Canadian.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Quebecois.
He's Quebecian.
Yeah, whatever.
He's
that.
He's a Canuck. No, this is one of, in my opinion, one of his masterpieces as far as like his films go. I really love this movie. But he's directed movies such like Arrival, or if you've ever seen the indie cult classic Enemy, with Jake
I love
Gyllenhaal,
Enemy.
or the very much slept on Blade Runner 2049, one of the better.
I thought it was
Sci-fi-
2048.
It's 2049, isn't it?
You're right. You're right. Sorry.
I was like, dude,
Was
if I'm
it-
wrong, I've seen the movie like 8 times. If I was wrong, I was gonna pashuku
Was it-
myself right here.
2048, that one app where you...
Oh, you're
Like
right.
that.
You're right.
24,365, etc.
I hated that.
Sorry. Anyway, and you know,
Etc.
yeah. What is some other? I just want to like make a mention of his filmography because it's really impressive.
Yeah, he's done a lot of different stuff.
The like insanely successful Sicario film. So
Oh right, I forgot that he did that.
yeah, so he's one of these directors.
This is like Prisoners is one of his like earlier ones, right? Like
2013. So it's around the time he was doing movies like Enemy and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, he's got some earlier filmography than that, but this is definitely one of the moments where he was kind of solidified, to say. Yeah, so this movie starring the talented Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, and one of my favorite, most slept-on actors ever, Paul Dano, or Dano, however you pronounce it.
I thought you were gonna say Terrence Howard, and I was like, really?
Terrence Howard is probably one of the weaker actors in the film, even though I like
He's
him.
fine.
He's fine. Terrence Howard is always like just fine. But
Yeah, for some like I was thinking about Paul Dano,
I
whatever
think
it
it's
is.
Dano.
Paul Dano too, but I for some reason I really had myself convinced that you were gonna say
Say
Terrence Howard.
No, Paul Dano is fucking incredible, and he's
No,
gonna
I
be
think
the
he's
new
great.
the new Riddler for the Batman film. If you guys haven't seen the trailer yet, it's amazing.
It's the only thing I'm tweeting about for the next week.
But no, I feel like that movie is gonna like skyrocket his fame because the issue with There Will Be Blood, even though he was amazing in it, is because he was sitting backseat to Daniel Day-Lewis, so nobody
Yeah.
cared about his performance, even though it was great. So yeah, Paul Dano, probably the best performance in the film.
Yeah.
I
you guys
think-
want to pivot
Yeah.
to a quick discussion of the new Batman trailer or what? No, just
We
kidding.
can. I mean, let's talk. Okay, I love the grittiness.
I'm so excited.
The lighting is very much it's reminiscent to a certain art style. I'd say like Long Halloween kind of deal.
What
Yeah.
I said
Very-
while watching it was I'm glad it didn't feel like fantasy, but it doesn't feel like
It feels
real, you
It
know?
feels essentially it feels fictional, but
Yeah.
not fantastical like the Justice
Yeah.
League movie was and stuff like that.
Right.
I would say that
got
it's a
my
total
boy
noir.
in it.
Yeah, it's got like
it feels like David Fincher directed that bitch.
yeah, no, it feels like, and I love that we're gonna have the Riddler.
I love that we're gonna have Robert Pattinson.
I love that like we as a society can pivot away from Joker fruitless Batman
Well,
movies because there are other good Batman villains.
His cabinet's great. And the other thing is too is the concept that the director was speaking about is he wants to make his Riddler like the Zodiac killer.
Yeah,
That's really
and I'm
interesting.
so excited.
And
Like,
it's like been super cool.
I think that like we as a society right now, we like just as Gotham needs the Batman, we need the
We
Batman
really
right now.
do.
And we need Robert Pattinson.
And we need our
as the
Pats to be the Batman
Oh
for
man,
us.
he looked pretty
I
good.
love
He looked good. He looked
pretty
good. I also like that he really only got like one good line in the trailer. I love that for him.
Also, speaking of Robert Pattinson, I just got the Midnight Sun.
Hell yeah.
Have you
Oh
started
yeah,
reading it?
Wow.
I haven't. I read like the first page, but I think I'm gonna read it and Twilight in unison and match,
I'll read,
it up.
I'll read
Wow.
one book. You'll
Yeah.
read the other. We'll just read
Perfect.
to each
No,
other.
Yes.
Trade him.
That's a podcast. That's
same time.
That's Patreon content, guys. Wait, no,
That'd be
I don't
fun.
think we can legally do that.
Probably not.
It's my mental illness. It's not Patreon content.
But yeah, I just want to take a quick second because I saw it last night or
Yeah.
maybe
Came
early
out
this morning.
last
Was
night, I
that
think.
what you were
Yeah,
watching last night?
Yes. I watched it right before we watched
And
Prisoners.
she didn't even like say what she was watching. Like, what are you
I
watching?
was enraptured,
What are you
Bridget. I was
watching?
fully lost in
And,
the
like,
Batman sauce.
Then afterwards,
Also,
you said
Jeffrey
nothing.
Wright as Jim Gordon, exactly as good as I said he would be.
Yeah,
everybody was
I'm-
like, "Wait, a black Jim Gordon to a guy that nobody knows."
Like,
Clearly,
what
you
do we
haven't
care?
seen Source Code or Catching Fire: The Hunger Games Part 2. No, but
Was he
seriously,
in
though,
Westworld?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, yeah, he was in Westworld.
He's incredible.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I right next to. Funny enough, we talked.
And
just
you
talked
got
about
Zoe
Scooby-Doo.
Kravitz playing Selena Kyle, I believe. Or no, she might be playing Batwoman, Barbara Gordon. But still, you got Zoe Kravitz in there, which is exciting.
Yeah, but like funny to talk about the two things that I loved so much as a child, which were Batman and Scooby Doo, and also that episode of Scooby Doo where Batman was there.
Yeah, the few. There's a couple.
Yeah, the few, and also those episodes of Scooby Doo with Batman in them. And like, I don't know, for some reason, like watching this trailer, like it just made me feel so good. It reminded me of like one of my very earliest childhood memories is being in my bedroom and playing with my bat cave. It was like a little mini bat cave, and
Please
there
nobody,
was-
please nobody soundbite that.
I just kind of gave her a
Stop,
look like
be nice. No, but it was really cool. It had like the little it had like the little like grappling hooks and stuff, and you
we
could
should
like
stop. We should stop.
No,
we should stop.
I'm being nostalgic.
I know, I can relate, but we're talking to the internet, remember?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, this brought me back to my Batman nostalgia and like
For
to
sure.
loving Batman as a child.
It's
and,
very
like,
this Batman gives me a Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond vibes. Like
that's actually what I was just gonna say. Like, if for whatever reason it reminds me of Batman Beyond, which I loved as a kid. I've been looking for like a Batman Beyond like set, like a box set. And I
they
haven't-
exist for sure.
Yeah, I know
They're
they
like
do. I just
30
haven't like
bucks
pulled
or
the trigger
so.
and bought it, but I really loved Batman Beyond, and I
Yeah.
thought it was great.
And the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker film is one of the best TV animated movies. Like I
It's
love
so
that shit.
good.
I just hope this
And also
really.
you see his girlfriend's titty in the opening too, so that's something.
Hell yeah, you do. You can see a little titty in
You
there.
see a little titty.
A little titty action.
in a
God.
children's show.
But it's still
I just
really
hope-
good.
But you know they cast Michael Keaton as Old Man Wayne for these Flash Gordon series, right? So he's playing the Old Man Wayne, and they're kind
Yeah.
of doing a Terry McGinnis style Flash.
yeah.
So that's gonna be really interesting.
I just hope this relaunches Robert Pattinson's career.
What do you mean
And-
relaunches?
We're talking-
You know, he is hot and spicy
We're,
right
talk-
now.
we're talking about taking him out of indie obscurity,
Yeah.
though.
And
Oh,
also,
okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure
I was gonna be like,
Robert
what?
Pattinson's like pretty hot right now.
I think Tenet's gonna
he
do that.
is, but he's not hot and mainstream. Like he's very.
Tenet's
I don't know.
gonna do that.
I mean, I will say that I kind of liked his little indie moment.
I know, but
I
this
did
could
too.
turn
He needed
into.
it. People need to know that
Yeah.
he could act.
But this could turn
Yeah,
him
and
into
now
a
he's
bigger
ready
deal.
to be. He's ready to like
I mean,
do it again.
he'll never top the Good Time performance.
And
but
he needed another like pivotal role to play because now he's not going to be Edward.
He's gonna be the Batman,
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a new label.
So yeah, that was
He
a
will
fun
always
little.
be my Edward, though.
That was a fun little digression. Thanks for indulging me in that because I just needed to spew a
was
little
gross.
bit about how excited I was.
So we talked about one superhero. Let's talk about another, Mr. Wolverine, which Madison could not tell was actually in this
Yeah,
film.
I was
Okay, so like
so
when, yeah,
upset.
when this movie started, Bridget was like, "Is that Hugh Jackman?" And I was like, "No, I don't think that's Hugh Jackman."
No, she didn't say. She was like, "No, that's not Hugh Jackman." And I was like,
I just did not recognize it as being him. I
He
think
didn't
it's-
have sideburns, so she couldn't tell.
No, it's like his face.
He didn't
is-
have wolf claws.
He had he literally was still stacked.
"He really was."
I don't
was
know. He has
stacked.
like a thinner face and like
Dude,
I don't know.
he
He
was
might
a,
have,
he was a
like,
Denny's
lost
Grand
weight, but
Slam
still.
motherfucker. He was thick boy.
Yeah, he was.
All right, whatever. I don't know.
I want to talk about the
Talking
plot
about the
real
best
fast.
boy, though.
Okay, so the idea of the film is there's basically this, I guess you could say like a bomb shelter survival type father, as well as his neighbor, which is like a school teacher of some sort. I believe it was.
I don't remember.
Teacher.
He plays the trumpet
I think
very
he's
badly.
like a music teacher.
No, he's not a music teacher. He's a school teacher.
Okay.
He specified that he wasn't a music teacher.
I should hope that he's not a music teacher. He does not play that trumpet
Oh,
well.
yeah, good point.
And then you got, I believe, Christopher Mintz-Plaza's in this as well. He plays.
I don't know who that is.
He plays Ralph, the teenage boy. He's in
Oh,
13 Reasons
yeah,
Why.
yeah.
I think that's his name, Christopher Mintz-Plaza.
Yeah,
I could
that
be
sounds
wrong.
correct.
That's right.
It's
I
either,
think.
wait,
to
am
me.
I confusing him with Superbad?
What? No.
The super-
Let
bad
me
kid?
see who he is.
I have no idea, but
Christopher.
he's that kid from 13 Reasons Why. You know him.
13 Reasons.
Bertie.
13 Reasons.
13 Reasons Why. A bunch of teens named Bert, and these are their reasons.
Yeah, no, you're confusing him, baby.
So what's the guy's? It's something Place or something, I think.
That's the guy from.
I know, but what's the guy from 13 Reasons?
Let me find out.
Or from this movie, actually.
Reasons
Whatever.
Why
While she's looking that up,
Podcast.
the plot. So, the idea is that wait till
Dylan Minnette. Minnette.
Dylan
I think it's
Minnette. Okay. I was like, wait till I finish. Just screams over me. Anyway,
No.
so the idea of the film is they're in this kind of like, suburban little neighborhood. It's really nice, and but still, what's crazy is the parents are very still guarded about their kids. Like they don't let them walk up the street alone. They tell them.
And I mean, I will say these are pretty young kids.
Yeah.
Like they're like probably first, second grade.
But the
Yeah.
idea is, without giving away too much, because we're going to talk about it in detail, they are kidnapped. And the rest of this movie is watching the unraveling of these parents, especially Hugh Jackman's character, dealing with the disappearance of their kids. And his character himself is somebody who thought he could prepare for everything, and this is something he couldn't foresee. As well as, I would say, a guardian angel style cop, being that his name is literally Loki, helping in the
Yeah.
search to find these children. What
And
did
that's Jake
you?
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal. What did you guys think?
I felt like this was like what The Lovely Bones could have been.
Dude,
Ooh, good
that's a
point.
great observation.
Like
That is seriously.
I think while we were
Especially
watching,
fucking
right down to
point.
Stanley Tucci, right? So he gets nominated for an Oscar.
I've
for
never
his,
seen it,
for
but-
his pervert weirdo, which is like really cartoonish and not believable. But Paul
Right.
Dano doesn't get shit. Sorry,
Right.
upsets me.
I think
Stanley
yeah,
Tucci's
I
a
think,
fucking cartoon.
I think Bridget said like this kind of reminds me of The Lovely Bones, and I think I said yeah, but this movie's good.
yeah, I mean, I meant the book because
What?
I
No,
really
my movie's good. What? No.
What?
Mark Wahlberg, he's the dad in the movie.
Oh,
What? No.
what? No.
What? No. Have you ever seen The Happening? It's a great reference. You gotta get excited about
Wow.
science.
We've referenced 2 M. Night movies in this.
M. Night is very culturally relevant at all times.
M. Night is very important to us in our lives right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's such a
But-
good observation, though.
yeah, it's just like all about the family and how you sort of move on from a crisis
Or not.
or not,
Yeah.
as the case
It,
may
it
be.
shows a lot of different ways of like people grieving too, and
Right.
like, people,
It also
like,
shows-
handling stress.
Like the lack of a humanity a person can get to. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
at one point in the film, it's pretty much implied that Paul Dano's character is the one. He was in an RV and he's clearly developmentally disabled. He definitely had something to do with their disappearance. They believe that he's actually the one who captured them and possibly killed them. And
Because the girls
molested them.
were, hanging around his RV.
And he
before they-
says something too to Hugh Jackman.
He says,
Well,
Character,
that's after.
Yeah.
So they Jake Gyllenhaal as spicy as possible.
Spiciest
hot.
I've seen him.
Okay, we were talking about chiseled versus rugged, and like these are my 2 men, right?
Are
Jake
rugged
Gyllenhaal.
just like markers, like marker drawn bad tattoos on your hands?
No,
and arms?
Jake Gyllenhaal chiseled.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell rugged. Those are my 2 boys. Like those are the 2 acceptable men.
2 men
Wait,
that could swoon you.
Didn't you say you were like you're super forgiving of Ryan Gosling as well, or was that my brain?
I get it.
I like
He's
a good Ryan
beautiful.
Gosling, but like in the way that I just think he's kind of cute as a little button.
Okay, I gotcha.
Aw.
Except in Drive,
And Drive, oh my god.
he's not as cute as a little button there, but I still like kind of have an
Or
awe
Only
moment
God
for him.
Forgives. She's great. Anyway,
I hate that movie.
We're talking about too many movies. So eventually they hear that these kids are hanging out around an RV. They arrest him. The guy, clearly as developmentally disabled as he is, tries to escape by driving directly into a tree. That's not how you escape, guys. Heads up. If you need
Doesn't
this,
work.
if you need to evade the police, you don't drive into a tree. They pick him up. They're doing all the blood tests on him. They're giving him all the tests, and they find out that basically he has the mind of a 10-year-old, and he doesn't really have the
the wherewithal,
the mental
to be able to do
bandwidth
this.
to be able to fucking abduct children and also keep them hidden. Which sends Hugh Jackman's character into a spiral because in his mind, this is so clearly the man who did it. So once it's discovered that the man was released from custody, which Hugh Jackman told Jake Gyllenhaal's cop, don't fucking do it, you motherfucker, blah, blah, caused a lot of rift in their relationship after that because he still has to let him go after the 48-hour hold. Hugh Jackman attacks Paul Dano's character, Alex Jones, hilarious. That name is perfect for this character.
I like it. Yeah, it's really funny to me that it's Alex Jones because the whole time I kept thinking like starting the Frogs gang.
Yeah. But at one point he grabs him because Hugh Jackman's out of his fucking mind at this point with fear of his daughter being gone, and
anger that he's released.
Anger that he's released, and anger that Hugh Jackman told his whole family, you can prepare for anything, you can protect yourself from anything. He even gave his daughter a red whistle, which was reincorporated later, but that was like the pure symbol of like, no matter what, I'm going to prepare you for every scenario, and he wasn't able to prepare for this one, which is a really great message in the movie, letting you know, like, there's some things you just can't prepare for, and you have to have a certain humanity in order to move on from these situations, because nobody can prepare for everything. But anyway, he attacks Paul Dano's character, Alex Jones, and he says they didn't cry.
Yeah, he said they only cried when I left them.
They didn't cry until I left them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman hears that and like is ready to fuck him up, but
Keller Dover is his.
Keller, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
we're gonna
Hugh
say Hugh
Jackman.
Jackman. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, let's be real.
Yeah.
And he hears that and he tries to tell the police, and the police are like, "Well, there's nobody to corroborate your story. You're clearly under grief." So what does Hugh Jackman do? He starts stalking Paul Dano's character, and he sees Paul Dano actually lift a dog up by the leash.
It's very
which
upsetting.
Is a very upsetting scene in the film. I knew Bridget was going to be upset by that, especially.
I prepared myself by reading doesthedogdie.com.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very helpful tool for people with
website I will
triggers.
always recommend.
And not to
Yeah.
be spoilery, this Alex Jones character is being abused and has been abused for a long time. And not to say that that's an okay thing to like attack a dog with, but it really makes a lot more sense of why he does it at the end of the film, because you realize he's stuck and he doesn't know how to let out his frustration because he doesn't understand his emotions.
Yeah, I mean, and at first, so kind of, I don't know if we want to go ahead and get into what like this movie kind of reveals itself to be.
I think we're gonna get there naturally, but yeah, I hear you.
But like, in fact, it's discovered that Paul Dano's character's aunt and her husband, who is mysteriously disappeared, have been kidnapping children for like 20 or so years.
Yeah.
They kidnap them, and and this is something that they've been doing. They're doing this, what they say, to wage a war with God, since their son has died from cancer.
And they set up fake trials like a maze and things like this.
Yeah, so they say, you can complete this book. You complete this book of mazes, you get to go home. In fact, one of the mazes is not solvable. There's no way out. And so that's like an imagery that will play in a lot. But it's really, but what's really, and so it comes to be that Alex Jones, Paul Dano's character, was like, I think the first child they ever kidnapped.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think he was the very first.
Is he? I
Yeah.
thought it might have been the other character. You're probably right.
Yeah, and so he's been with them for almost all of his life. He was kidnapped when he was a child. He's an adult man now. And that's why he has this mentality of a 10-year-old, because their MO really is like drugging these kids with like LSD and ketamine. So it's this like, it's this like dangerous cocktail.
So
Not recommended.
But anyway, but like in the beginning of the film, and pretty much right up until a certain point, you really believe that either he has something to do with the disappearance of these children, or he is directly responsible, or you at least question that he could be. And so you see him do this like sort of terrible thing to this dog, and you think at that moment that like he's taunting,
and he's singing the same version of a Christmas song that the little girls were singing earlier.
also Batman related,
Yeah,
full
Batman
circle,
related,
baby.
yeah. Mhm.
But anyway, so you see him do this, and you in your mind draw the same connection that Hugh Jackman's character does, is that he's doing it on purpose to taunt him. And then, so like later, you find out that he himself is a victim of these crimes, and that he has this like psychological damage. And so now you wonder, well, why do that then? And I think it's because of exactly what you said. Like, this is his only way of pushing,
putting that emotional aggression out, because he doesn't know how to articulate anything, and
he doesn't know how to verbalize. As we'll come to see, he doesn't know how to verbalize that this has happened to him.
Yeah. And the really cool thing, or I shouldn't say cool, but the really powerful thing about the movie is that what it does is you are under the impression that this is a monster for a lot of the movie. But what happens is a good man, who you consider to be a good man, starts doing monstrous things to him. And you're conflicted, because the evil that Hugh Jackman's character inflicts on this character, regardless of who he is,
to watch.
Is nearly impossible to watch.
Yeah.
It really is.
Maybe that plays into the whole mentally disabled thing, and maybe that's why you're feeling pity. But I think that if you put any person, if you as a good person see somebody tortured to that level, there's a reaction inside of you.
Yeah.
And you get to
But
see
it's
it through
conflicted.
characters too, because his friend, like the father of the other girl that went missing.
And he's conflicted because they're all conflicted, because they want to take care of their daughter, to the point where right when you think that Terrence Howard's character is going to break him out of essentially this waterboarding steam shower he built for him, because he no longer could hit him because of the any more damage would kill the man. Terrence Howard's character is about to release him from the shower, and his own wife stops him.
Because it's that situation. It's like, well, what if there is a chance that he knows?
Yeah.
And then there's this whole side plot, which was so fucking cool, because the movie, it didn't do it just to derail you from figuring it out. It was actually another interesting character, which is a man shows up to one of their vigils and wakes, and starts puts down this teddy bear, and you can sense an energy about him. So Jake Gyllenhaal's character chases this man. You come to find out that this man is breaking into their houses and stealing items, which you don't find that out till way later, but you see in the film that he's doing it.
He comes into their homes.
The characters don't find out till later. And then this girl at this department store is like, this guy keeps buying children's clothes. He played a great creepy motherfucker, by the way.
Yeah.
That actor has been in Ant-Man, in The Dark Knight, and a couple other movies.
Yeah, and this guy is like, and so mazes is a repeated theme in this movie. We see it a lot.
Yeah.
And so this guy is like obsessed with this idea of the maze, and the maze is being a map to find these children. And so they really assume that, due to all these things, that he is the one who took them, which kind of shifts the way that focus from Paul Dano's character to now it's being this guy.
And
you're
that's
wondering
kind of
if they're-
how
but you're-
Hugh Jackman's character is able to get away with what he did, since the police were focusing on.
But the
this
whole
guy.
time, the film, you're still getting vibes that he might be in cahoots with this other guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the whole time the movie keeps telling you he couldn't have done it alone. He couldn't have done it alone.
Right.
And clearly we're thinking this guy is involved in some way, which we find out he is. He's actually an escaped child that they had captured in the past. And that's why he's so horribly damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's obsessed with...
Like,
It's really interesting. Like, he's obsessed with recreating what happened to him and withdrawing this maze in order to make sense of it.
And it's funny, like, it's really gaslighting how, like, the police, when they talk about him, they say, like, oh, he just, like, made this up. Or something along those lines. They
Yeah,
say,
well, he has
he
this-
couldn't have been kidnapped by a person that did this. He just kind of, like, because he's got a book on, like,
Yeah,
mazes
so he has
and
this
a book on,
which
like,
is-
a killer or
which-
something.
Yeah, this book, which they mentioned very briefly,
Yeah.
that posits that like one person is behind all of these unsolved kidnappings for like the past 20 or something years. And for whatever reason, they use the symbol of this maze. And that is, it comes to be correct. That theory in the book that comes to be correct. But, they basically say like, yes, he was a victim of kidnapping, but this theory is bullshit.
Yeah.
And the director, because I was gonna say one of the best scenes is the chase from the apartment building that Jake Gyllenhaal has all the way to the guy's house, because he shows up at the department store and then comes to the house and kicks
Right.
in the door. One of the more, because there's a lot of elements that you see in the house. For one, there's a lot of mazes drawn, but there's
There's a
actually
lot to take in there.
there's actually height lines drawn on the edge of doorways that's to implicate that children were growing up in this house, and he was doing the line of how tall they have gotten.
Yeah.
And a lot of these elements in this film, including the whole grocery store, or the whole department store thing, he draws a lot of what he put in the movie off of real cases. And there's a viral video on the internet where a gentleman is talking to this lady and she's recording him. He doesn't know it. And she actually chases him out of a Target saying that he's come up and talked to her before. That character was based off of that real life man who basically was stalking women in these Targets.
Yeah, I remember watching that video. I remember because he would be like, "Oh, well, I just want to."
Yeah. Do you think my girlfriend would like this?
Yeah.
She's got really big
I
breasts.
remember that.
Yeah, I want to get this for my wife.
Oh my God.
You know,
Okay.
like-
I got to tell this. So, at my training for my current job, I met this girl that used to work at a plus size women's store. And she said when she'd work there, they would get calls from this guy all the time asking like about women's underwear for like plus size women, and like asking like her if like she was wearing ones and like what she was wearing and like which
Ew.
ones he thinks were the best. And yeah, she said it would happen all the fucking time.
Ew. That's
I
gross.
also get a weird call at my work about definitely
lighters?
Yeah. We get a recurring call at my work. And this guy always calls and he like kind of prefaces the call like he's like, "Oh, like I just want to call and like thank you guys for your customer service, blah blah blah. Especially the women there, they were so helpful, blah blah blah." Which like I work at a men's store, but like a lot of us are women that work there. And then he's always like, "But I got a question to ask you. Do you think not a Bic lighter, it's a Zippo. Do you think a Zippo lighter is a good gift for a female?"
Okay. I got you.
And when I told Logan that, he thought that was like very odd sounding.
And I'm on Reddit and I'm helping people solve mysteries all the time. Y'all don't even know. I'm not going to reveal my Reddit secret identity, but this is something I do all the time.
Yeah.
And that read code word for me. Like that is solicitation for sex, 1,000%.
Specifically in our area too.
So when I typed in our area, not going to say what it is because
Yeah.
I don't want to send people to an explicit site.
Yeah, my work.
Our
and stuff.
area, Zippo, you found a prostitution site, essentially, or like I guess you could say a call girl site.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so code for soliciting sex. I guarantee you.
So the next time he
That's
called,
crazy.
I said, "We can't help you with that," and he hung up.
Oh, customer service
Yeah.
jobs.
Right.
For sure. But yeah, so we're talking about, so then the
Just
character,
creepy real life people.
the secondary character of the weird guy, the pervert guy who was shopping for children's clothes, he eventually gets arrested. Obviously, they open up all these crates and boxes, and they're filled with bloody clothes and snakes, trying to insinuate
Unsettling.
there was murders. But in reality, he was actually breaking into people's houses, soaking it in pig blood, and trying to pass off as this murderer himself. He wanted to be the killer himself in a way.
Yeah, I mean, and I think to make sense, and I think that like it was more to make sense of all of these elements of something terrible that happened to him that were because he was drugged up on LSD and Special K. You know, like because he's like has this like jumble of memories which involve mazes, snakes, because you know, it's revealed earlier in the movie that the husband of the aunt who was behind all of this with her was like very interested in snakes. He kept snakes. And they attribute Alex Jones's developmental disability to an incident with a snake, which is really interesting. But yeah, so like all these different pieces, like children's belongings and mannequins buried in the yard and snakes and mazes, and like they're all just a jumbled mess because they're a jumbled mess in his mind, and there's no sense to it because in his mind there's no sense to it. But it's like he's got all these pieces that he's trying to make sense
That's a
then-
good point. I didn't even
And then
think
the other
about
thing is
that.
the whole time in the film, even a lot of the times after the film, you're still like, what a creepy fucker. But in reality, what this character went through was something traumatic.
Yeah.
He didn't really harm people. He definitely mistreated animals, which is common in people who have trauma. He didn't harm a person though.
Right.
And he ended up
just
killing
like broke
himself
into places.
in custody. He murdered himself. He suicided in custody. So, but up until then, it's weird the way things are framed. It says a lot about a film of like how perspectives work
Yeah.
and really thinking things through. And what people are willing to do and how heightened people's are emotions over their mindset. Like at the end, when Hugh Jackman's character, which by the way is being chased by the police because they believe he has something to do with this, and he doesn't even care enough to like say I don't, because he thinks he's running against the clock, which he is.
Yeah. And the reason for that is eventually, not Hugh Jackman's daughter, but the other girl that was taken manages to escape, and she sees him, and she says, "You were there."
But, and so he was hanging out with Holly Jones, the person, Alex Jones's aunt
or kidnapper,
air quotes. And he's so in the moment. He really sets himself up. Mm-hmm. He does himself no favors, and that's why he's essentially captured, attacked, and what happens, to him.
Right.
And that's kind of an example with the whole movie, like the things that he does to Alex Jones's character, how he pretends to be blackout drunk in his apartment building to convince Jake Gyllenhaal's character that he's actually, fucked up and not, torturing somebody. There's a lot of decisions here, and like here's the thing, that Hugh Jackman's character is a good person. Like
who loves his family.
But at the same time, like the things that people will do when they feel entitled and emotionally drawn to do so. It's a really interesting topic.
And like something I'm interested in, and I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Hugh Jackman's character is shown to be very religious. I mean, you see him praying a lot.
Yeah.
And is like both in the beginning of the film, like that's sort of the first lines of dialogue that you hear is him praying.
He's very like religious and conservative too. Like
yes.
they said he sings the Star Spangled Banner in the shower.
Right. It has this like doomsday prepper basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting how that sort of is sort of a counter, like not a counterpoint, but it sort of plays into this idea that he blindly believes that Paul Dano's character Alex is the person.
Yeah.
And he has this like devout belief that it is him regardless of whatever else might be happening. And then like how that belief, that devoutness to the idea of it being him leads him to do terrible things. And I just wonder how that ties into the whole religious thing.
There's also this other aspect too, where the character of Loki, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, an actual angel, the whole time is trying to steer Hugh Jackman away from taking things into his own hands.
Right.
And also is, by the way, that ending scene where he's driving to the hospital, that is one of the most stressful and well-directed scenes.
Oh my God.
That is one of the best directed like scenes as far as like let's race to somewhere. Like that's the best directed race scene I've ever seen by far. It is so stressful.
Yes.
And so well done.
Yeah, he's like shot in the head and
there's
like
blood getting into his eyes and
like he's just trying to take
a girl who's dying.
Yeah,
right.
she got like shot up with like something to kill her.
And
like
and
one
this,
of the little girls, Hugh Jackman's daughter, like when she's found.
And this is like this character the whole time is like a guardian angel who at the same time pretty much gets like no recognition or thanks for what he puts himself through, and how even though it may seem like he's against Hugh Jackman's character the whole time, he's really trying to help him.
Yeah.
Right down to Hugh Jackman screaming in his face, saying it's your fault, my daughter's dead. And I feel like that's like a religious person rebuking their religion the moment it doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah.
Like blaming God, like you used to thank God for what you had, now you blame God for what he's taken. I feel like that's a physical representation of that.
Yeah. And
I didn't even
just
think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but and I'm just interested in those ideas of like believing in something so much that it makes you do terrible things.
But this movie, I feel like it's not like it has religious elements through it, obviously, but I would not say if you're somebody who's like kind of like not into religion, don't want to like talk about that, this movie is not in favor of it, I don't think. I mean, or at least
and I think that's why it's interesting that it ties in.
I mean, we find a priest who's murdered a child molester because he himself is a child molester, or not child molester, a child captor, when he himself is a child molester, and then that person ends up being the husband that was missing this whole time.
Yeah,
which I totally called, by the way.
Yeah, Bridget did call that early, but it's really interesting how everything kind of comes full circle and is connected.
It feels so crazy and out of ways, but the maze leads all to the same end, no matter what end you start.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Something about this movie is like when you're in a maze, when you're in it, it doesn't make sense, and you just have to kind of walk until you're out. and you have to feel your way, and you have to use your wits and like think about where you've gone and where you've been and where you are logically. But then if you look at a maze from above, if you look at the whole thing, it actually is so simple.
Yeah.
And I think that this is like something that's true about this movie. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, every performance in this film too. Even Terrence Howard. I know we talk shit, but
I didn't talk shit. I mean,
I mean, in general, like I talk shit about Terrence Howard. He's kind of crazy.
He's okay. He is crazy.
But everybody in this movie, even the child actors, and they kill it. This movie is so well acted and so well directed, and the actual coloring of the film, like the coloration of the film, is so dark, but so like crisp. You know, like everything in this movie is dark. Even like when they're walking around in the sunny day, it's dark, and that's to reflect what's going on in the film.
Yeah,
and you don't get like an orange sunlight scene until Loki is in the hospital and the mother walks in to thank him.
Yeah.
That's the only orange sunlight scene in the entire picture.
Yeah. The cinematographer, I think, is Roger Deakins, and he's really good.
I was going to say that. It is Roger Deakins, which means it's good.
Yeah, he's the bomb.
I like
this
the
is
way
a Roger Deakins appreciation podcast.
Yeah, dude, Roger Deakins is the best. Best.
I like the way it ended. Like it ended on Loki.
Great reincorporation with the whistle at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get the 100% confirmation. We could that he was found, but we could draw our own conclusions.
Yeah, so
and
when
Hugh
really Jackman went back to confront the aunt, he gets captured and he gets buried underground, kind of set in the maze to die. And he finds the whistle from his daughter down there, which the great incorporation that we said. And so they kind of just assume he ran away, because obviously if he's found, he's going to prison for what he did to Alex Jones. And they're excavating the land and everything for all the bones, and Loki's walking around right after it's done, and you just hear the whistle. Yeah, he should go to prison.
But I feel like he would easily take that to know his daughter's safe.
I just like that they didn't feel the need to go through digging him up and everything. The whistle with Loki there was plenty, and it was a good ending.
Oh, go ahead, Bridget. Sorry.
No, I was nodding. I just was.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No.
And the thing that I kind of like about it too is, in the beginning of the film, Hugh Jackman's character, says, you have to be prepared for everything because you can only rely on yourself when things go bad. And then in the end of the movie, you see him
having to rely on somebody
calling
else.
out for help and hoping that somebody answers.
And then the reincorporation of the whistle being even the smallest preparation is something that you should consider.
Right, yeah.
Even something as stupid as the whistle is something that could save your life.
Right.
And it started the entire film. I mean, everything had to do with the travel of this little red whistle, which is why there's a Criterion cover with a red whistle on it. That's cool. Dope as fuck. But no, I mean, this film is definitely one of the more layered films we've talked about on here, which doesn't make it better than the other movies. But I just love a movie where, especially after rewatching it, there's elements that come together even cleaner than you thought, and that's what I experienced when I rewatched it. When I first saw it, the father being the one in the basement is something I came to the realization at the end. But the way it's built up now, when you rewatch it, knowing that he's dead in that basement, that guy who abducted the kids, it really works because he's on the trail and you're seeing how many abductors and child molesters and sex offenders are out in the open. There's one working at a Subway, there's one living in a church, there's one in a business office. You see that.
And the guy living in the church is the priest.
As far as needing to protect people, children included, whoever, there are elements of danger everywhere you go.
Right.
So this movie has a lot to do with being prepared, but understanding that you can't prepare for everything.
Right.
Really great stuff. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and this, and I think something I like about this movie too is what does it mean to seek your own justice, and is that the right thing to do? And I think it's something that's interesting in this movie too is that Hugh Jackman as a character, obviously he works outside of the law. He takes it into his own hands and start beating the shit out of Alex Jones to get the answers that he wants to get. And again, I think it's really interesting. Like, he's blind to all the other possibilities.
And I asked the question because he wasn't tested on it. But do you think that he would have let Alex go, or do you think he would have ended him in the self-righteous thought of my daughter needs a father? Like, what do you think he really would have done when he finally got the news?
I don't know. I kind of think that he would have let him go.
That's what I want to think too.
I kind of want to think that.
That's what I want to think. But there's elements of the film, especially the idea that he captured and tortured him in the first place.
Yeah,
that shows that the character we want him to be isn't always who he is.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's a really
because he does feel question. Like the protector over his family and everything, and especially
to
like
a fault. I mean, he ignored the police, so is he really going to ignore the law of not killing somebody?
Especially when you
he
see
thinks he's there to protect his family.
When you see the state that like the mother is in towards the end, like she's in.
I love the scene where she nearly caught the guy in the house, and Jake Gyllenhaal just writes it down like guy in the house, blah, blah, just to appease her, and then it's reincorporated later. It's like, yeah, bitch. Listen to all your fucking victims because you don't know what's true and what's not true. Take everything that somebody says into consideration. Don't ever deny somebody who reports something. Don't ever write it off like it's not a big deal because you don't know what's true, motherfucker.
I also I think this movie has a lot to say about like an unusual suspect, like not the person you'd first think too. Like the captor
Quasimodo
is like
just flooded in my mind. I'm sorry.
The captor.
She said unusual suspect.
Oh.
Sorry, did I say something wrong?
Kaiser Soze.
I don't know. I've never seen that.
Who
but,
is he? Like, do we know? Like, will we ever know who Kaiser Soze is?
Who's that usual suspect?
I really want to watch the usual suspects.
I was trying to not say Kaiser Soze and say Quasimodo, but still you pick up on what I was saying.
Anyways, back to this because I don't know what you're talking about at all.
We should really watch the usual suspects with these guys. I think that would be really fun.
That would be fun. Sorry, Frank.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like the captor of these kids, like they're only looking at like men, and then like you find out it's like this like older woman, and then
that's an astute point. I didn't even think about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and she's never suspected.
And she comes off like this innocent old lady who's like, my middle door
boy.
doesn't. My door doesn't work.
So much so that when Hugh Jackman knows that she's involved, he doesn't even like prepare before walking in the house that like she could get the jump on him, and she does instantly.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to physically overpower him. She outwitted him. And just shit like that. Like and then they're just so focused on Alex Jones because like he fits the profile. They didn't even think about any, and like the guy at the funeral, like or the guy at the vigil fits a profile too.
And it's really interesting. And I think this movie, like I said before, has something really interesting to say about how belief can blind you.
Especially with like another like unusual like villain is I mean, we see them as a usual villain, but like, you know, you shouldn't is the priest character being a
I think in the eyes of like a very religious zealot person, they don't see that to be a possibility.
Right.
And not only is he like a villain, he's one of the most egregious you can think of.
Yeah.
And he's in the worst shape out of like all they go to all these sex offenders and child predators, and there's one working a job, there's one like working in an office, and the priest is the one who's passed out drunk on the floor, riddled with guilt, which is an interesting topic because it makes you wonder. If he wasn't a religious person, would that part of his brain not even have the guilt? Is this guilt that was instilled in him, or do people feel a natural guilt anyway?
And both of those two like characters show more that you can't prepare for everything too, because they're both people that you feel like you should be able to let your guard down
that
around.
You entrust children.
Yeah.
With.
And I think like too, the inclusion of the priest is like it's sort of a bit of a comment on like sort of like you know what can we justify in our minds and what can we not justify?
Yeah, because he does justify
in the same way that Hugh Jackman can justify what he's doing to Paul Dano because of his daughter. The priest can justify molesting children to an extent because he continues to do it.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's generally that of a cycle if you look at the Catholic Church.
And the priest justifies killing the guy that came to him because he said he was abducting children, and he said he was going to continue once he left.
And for him, he can justify what he does to children, but not what this guy did.
Yeah.
But then the question is he riddled with guilt because of a man he murdered 3 years ago or whatever it was, or is he riddled with guilt because he molests kids?
Exactly.
Right, and
Is
that's
that
the
a
question.
natural state of being? Is that something he actually feels in his subconscious, or is it something that's instilled to him by this religion?
Yeah.
It's all really good questions. That
Yeah.
I feel like the movie purposely feels open for you.
Yeah. But I was gonna say before, what I think is interesting is like the way in the way that like Hugh Jackman's character operates outside of the law and on his own. The Jake Gyllenhaal's character Loki is like a very by the book cop.
Yes.
As far as it goes,
which is wild because you wouldn't. What's great is like they purposefully draw these characters in a certain way, in a certain look, to make you believe it's going to be the opposite.
Especially
Right.
like with his intro, like I didn't like the intro to the character that much.
Which one?
Loki. When
really,
he's,
I
like,
thought it was perfect.
I thought that was fantastic.
I thought it was like almost too campy when he's like in the diner.
He's kind of like a angelic figure of the film.
He's a little bit.
Good
He's
point,
a little
yeah.
larger than life himself.
Whereas Hugh Jackman's character, you're expecting clean cut, standard, like like he may be a little bit hillbilly and whatnot, or like his doomsday
A little out
preppery,
there, but
you
yeah.
also get American civility out of him, a yes ma'am, no ma'am kind of mentality. But instead, he goes and he turns into like fucking Batman,
And again,
and he starts
Right.
doing things on the sly and outsmarting the cops, and that's not what you expected out of the character.
And again, that's a comment on like who you think you can let your guard down around versus
And then like as a detective, like Jake Gyllenhaal really follows the rules up until the point of him like trying to beat the shit out of the dude.
even though he seems like the rugged kind of
Yeah. And one of
Off
my
the
favorite things
hinges
to
cop.
do when Bridget and I watch like crime procedural shows, as we often do, is just be like tear their court case apart because they obtained all of their evidence in illegal ways.
You know what else is good about this movie is there's a lot of noir fades to black.
Yeah.
Which, like,
Yeah.
at first you're like, oh, that's kind of campy, but the way the film works is it's procedural to a procedure you've never seen before. Like,
Right.
it is it goes by beats you would almost expect minus the twist, like the way the characters act after you realize who they are. And these fades to black, like for instance, the perfect one is when he finally gets to the hospital, and you think the
Yeah.
scene's gonna cut with him yelling for help, but he actually gets inside of the hospital and is yelling for help, and then it fades to black, and it's really, really engaging, like directing and cinematography. It really draws you in because you're like, it faded to black. What happened? Blah blah. It's so old school noir in that way, and the way it uses white light is the same thing. Where you see the white light in the backyard from the security lights. Or when you see them from the lamp post he brings into the broken down apartment, that like switch light he has, all uses of white light is really great because you feel another character towering over a different one. For instance, Hugh Jackman's character, when that light is on, is towering over Alex
Right.
Jones. But when later, when they're in the backyard, Holly Jones is towering over Hugh Jackman's character, and it's drawn that way with white light, showing I have the jump on you. You are no longer in control.
Yeah.
I am in control of the situation now.
Yeah, and like the way that this movie looks is very intentional, and I really am into it.
Absolutely.
And I think like the design of these characters is very intentional. Like I'm really interested in like Jake Gyllenhaal's tattoos, and I've been kind of like reading what different people think, and and he's got like astrological symbols.
Yeah.
And stuff on him, and he wears like a Masonic ring, and I think it's really interesting, like him as a foil to Hugh Jackman's like Christian religion devoutness, whereas Jake Gyllenhaal is sort of like
Jesus is my friend of mine.
like he
Jesus
seems,
is a friend of mine. Yeah, he gives off that vibe for sure.
and then like Jake Gyllenhaal seems to be like a dabbler in the sort of non-conventional religion, and just like how people, and again that shows how people are different than they appear, because he then shows himself to be kind of a by the book cop.
Not just by the book, but no matter how much he was shit on, insanely compassionate.
Yeah.
I mean, like he literally had more than one time where Hugh Jackman's character essentially ripped his fucking head off, and he was like, you need to go home and be with your family. I'm gonna find your daughter. And like, he has human moments, like when Hugh Jackman's character is approaching again and he's in the car and he goes, shit. But at the same time, he rolls down the window, listens the same. And even when he's at his house, Hugh Jackman's character is screaming at him like, I don't fucking understand, blah, blah. And Jake Gyllenhaal, like, he's got a smile on, like, I could fuck you up. But he's still calm, collected. And that's not what you'd expect. When I first saw this rough and gruff character, when I first watched the movie, I thought he was going to fucking dome Hugh Jackman. I really did.
Yeah.
Because he was getting in his face and yelling, but he didn't, and he stayed cool.
I so feel that like on such a smaller scale, but like I work at a job where I answer phones for people who are unhappy a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And like I definitely just felt him being like, okay, sir, I'm gonna need you to calm down.
Yeah. No,
Like,
for sure.
That's definitely how you have to talk people down.
That's
from
customer
their, like,
service for
crisis
sure.
moment.
For sure. Especially in your case, not to get in specifics, but yeah.
Yeah, like you like that's definitely how you have to be with people to like talk them out of their crisis moment. Just like, sir, I'm gonna need you to take a breath.
And then, you know, like there's another element that I want to talk about, and it's the older brother is an interesting character. He doesn't get a lot of time, but his character is really interesting because what he is directly in line with his father's footsteps. He wants to be just like his dad. It shows in everything he does.
Right.
And he's reaching for like furtherment of his life. He's like reaching for like, if I pay half the car, can you pay half the car? Can we rent out the apartment building? But at the same time, he's like, so like, I'm not going to argue with you, Dad. Like everything that he says. And then finally at a point in the film where things have really turned and it's believed that his daughter is dead, you finally see Ralph, is the name of the character, stand up for himself.
Yeah.
And be like, you know, you're lying to yourself. It's time to face facts. I'm sick of you going out and getting fucking drunk. You need to be here. And that's kind of the moment where in the beginning of the film, Ralph was like reaching out for any sort of drawstring to go into maturity from his father. And instead he actually went right past him because of the events.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about how much people need to grow up in these situations.
Yeah. Oh, and then when they had this fight, like it's really interesting too. There's like an interesting symbolism moment where they like break this dollhouse.
Yeah, I know. Oh
which
my
like
God.
is the crumbling of their family.
Heartbreak, dude. Fucking heartbreaking moment.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm trying to think if there's anything that like I didn't like so much. You talked about the acting. I think there were times when Hugh Jackman was like almost a little bit overdoing it for me.
not at all. I disagree, but that's your own opinion. So
Yeah, I mean there were just some scenes where I would have liked him to kind of like take it down just a little bit.
I think the reason why, now you could still have your opinion on this, but I think
Yeah.
the reason why he comes off like he's overacting is because he's actually acting in the film. Like he's an actor playing a guy acting. Because he's acting like he's in charge of the situation. He's gruff and tough.
that is a good
That's
point.
why he comes off so overtly masculine, because he's like, this is my fucking kid. I'm going to fucking save her. I'm going to fucking protect her. And I'm going to lose my fucking mind over this. And that's why he's so relentlessly, like, I guess you could say passive aggressive or shitty, to the point where it seems like it's overacting, but that's because his character himself is putting on a front.
Yeah.
Good point.
Which is why the performance is so layered and really great, in my opinion.
Bridget, I feel like in this movie you like called some things kind of early, like earlier than I think I would have called them if I were by myself. Like you talked about like not realizing that the guy was the uncle until the very end. Like Bridget saw him, she was like, "That's the uncle."
Well, you also,
Yeah.
this is all based on true crime stories in a way, like
That's
slightly
true.
based. And
Yeah.
from my understanding, you are a true crime expert, so that's
I
probably has
wouldn't
something.
say an
that-
expert.
I think
but
it might be.
But I was wondering if it like took anything away from you to like have kind of know.
Absolutely not. Like I feel like I was like I've got this piece of the puzzle, and they're very good about like feeding you like bit by bit of information,
Yeah.
and just like keeping you holding on, and like trying and like grasping you, like giving you little breadcrumbs, and like you're just trying to figure out what the bigger picture is. And I feel like I just kind of like was able to take that I think this might be the uncle, and like
Yeah.
store it in my pouch, my information pouch.
And the
You're
film,
like a
packet of
kangaroo.
clues.
the film actively tries to deceive you, but what I love about it is it doesn't lie to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't
makes you
overtly
ask
go, "This is
questions.
this,"
Right.
which I appreciate.
I get what you mean though. Like, especially like I listen to a lot of true crime stuff and watch a lot of true crime stuff. And I felt myself like thinking about this the next day and being like, oh, I want to watch like that. I want to watch the next episode. And then I was like, oh shit, that was a movie.
It was a movie, exactly.
It's over.
movie.
Just popping
I
some
also
Fincher.
watch a lot of true crime, but I do it like upset. Like I listen to true crime, and then I'm like also upset that I'm listening to it again. My true crime
The
relationship
good thing
is
about
deeply
the good thing
complicated.
about crime fiction is that it doesn't live its back off of actual events. You know.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what helps me. And this movie, Bridget was saying too, like this movie reminded her of The Lovely Bones. This movie reminded me of like a good early David Fincher joint. Like
For sure. I mean,
like
David Fincher's
Seven-
always great, but okay.
yeah, well, I mean, like, but like, you know, like Seven or like Zodiac.
Oh,
Zodiac.
7 or
But,
yeah.
but Seven a lot, but Zodiac a little bit. Maybe also
When
because
Logan
Jake
was-
Gyllenhaal's
You know, I
there.
said that earlier. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
did
said it
you?
earlier in this podcast, but it's fine.
Did you say that
I
earlier?
sure did.
When
Oh,
Logan was
sorry.
kind of like pitching this movie to me to like,
It really is a Fincher film.
yeah,
though. That's how it feels.
He
It
said,
is. I mean, it has this, it draws from what those movies
yeah.
do.
He said it's like the Zodiac is pretty much how you described it, and I see that.
Yeah. Which Zodiac would be a fun one to cover at some point, too.
I like Zodiac a lot.
I
I think
really
we've
li-
all,
I
I think
really
we've all
enjoyed it.
seen and like Zodiac.
Yeah.
That's a rare one that we've all like seen.
I know.
Yeah.
And
Everybody loves Zodiac. Everybody
else is
loves
there?
loves a spicy Jake Gyllenhaal in their lives.
I don't think he was that. He was kind of a
pretty-
fucking dork in
no,
that
he
movie.
was pretty bland.
He was
like
kind of bland, wasn't
Have
he?
you ever seen Black Dahlia?
I
I have
haven't.
not.
So, I think we should watch it and then watch Zodiac because one is really trying hard to be the other, and I think it's really interesting to watch because it's literally another noir film based on a famous murder. So, we should do them together.
That'll
This
be
is
fun.
just an idea. We're not saying anything for sure.
We're just pitching.
But anyway, let us know if you like that idea. So
Like the cyber monster in Scooby Doo. We're just trying out our pitching.
We're just trying to. We're just. If you think I'm great at hitting, where do you think my bitch?
Anyways, I feel
Horrible.
like we
And then he missed every time. Anyway.
right.
really
I feel like
did.
we said everything we
Yeah.
need to
So
say.
if there's anything else,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that there's like a lot of layers to this movie, and I think
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of like symbolism in this movie that like I just kind of caught on my first watch, but I would like to like watch it again. I still have
it's
a copy.
a great rewatch
And
for
just
sure.
to like pick up on different things and like notice different things. And I was thinking about it a lot at work today actually because I get like a fair amount of downtime, so I was just like sitting there thinking about this movie and like just like putting different things together in my mind and like thinking like, well, what does this thing mean? And like this is a really good movie to like sit and ponder, you know?
Absolutely.
You can really put your thinking cap on with this one.
Yeah, it really has. You can really roll it over a few times and
Yeah,
get a lot
you can
out of
you
it.
can really sit there and like kind of think about it. And I also had a good time like reading other people's analyses of this movie, whether I agree with them or not. Some people
There are some really negative ideas about this movie.
Oh yeah, some people don't like this movie.
Some
And-
people fucking hate it, and I was
and
really
I mean,
blown away by
I
that.
hear those and I understand them. I just don't agree with them.
No.
But yeah, some people.
There's people who like go up and down that Paul Dano's performance is like totally shit, and I'm like, okay, out of everything,
disagree.
that is a big
hard
disagree.
I think he's great.
Go look at Tucci's
like,
fucking Predator ass.
I can't wait to see him in more stuff.
Batman.
Batman.
Also, you saw There Will Be Blood, right?
Oh yeah, he's great in
Yeah.
that.
Or have you seen Little Miss Sunshine? He's in that too. It's a good one.
It's been a really long time since I've seen that movie. So
Anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and I don't want to say who we are in this movie because that sounds ridiculous.
no, I don't want to see it at all.
Let's go ahead
Yeah,
and rate the
no.
movie.
Quick shout out to like any person on Reddit 2 years ago who was like on some thread that I was reading about prisoners. You guys have some good opinions and some bad ones too, and I just enjoyed reading them.
10 out of 10.
I was on Reddit at work, Logan.
Shocking. So out of character for you.
I know. I never do that.
For me, it's so close to a 10 out of 10, but I think I have to give it a 9 out of 10. The only issues I have with it is I feel like there's like just the hiccup of pacing in the middle. But once they introduce the second like character, the Predator character, it picks back up. So I don't know. It's
And
like
I think-
actually, you know what? It's a 9.5.
And I think part of my like I'll make this the lead into my rating here. But I think part of my like sort of I get a little tired of Hugh Jackman. I think he overdoes it a little bit. It's because there's this like point in the middle where it's a little bit slower, and it sort of feels like we're doing the same thing for a while. And
Yeah,
like
that definitely. And
I do kind of think it's intentional because it's like this case is not moving.
Yeah.
And you're stuck on this point, but also like as a viewer, I thought that like something it just needed to be
should have done a
less.
Scooby Doo montage, dude. Let's just get through all the torture.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a pretty, this is a pretty long movie too. This movie is like
About
what
2.5
hours.
hours?
So like, I think we could have like trimmed it a little bit in the middle, and it would have felt a little better to me. But that's just me. But overall, I really like this movie, and I liked the look and feel of this movie the most.
It looks great
about it.
and
Looks
it's
very
got a
good.
great like, it's got a great like, what would you say? Like not like kind of like a tension to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got
A
this
great tone as well.
It's got this great like noir atmosphere where
For
everything's
sure.
sort of like gray and it's like raining constantly
Whoever
for no reason.
whoever edited this movie needs a gold medal.
Yeah.
Because the editing is fucking great.
Also, Roger Deakins, you're doing amazing, sweetie. I love you.
Always.
You did an awesome job. Gold star. But no, I give this movie. I'm gonna give it an A.
Nice.
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah, we like this one.
It was I wanted us to review it really badly, but I knew that like it is a little of some people really love it, but there's a lot of elements in here that are kind of upsetting to watch. I think I should warn people. It's not like, it's not like a Serbian film or something, but it is hard to watch at times.
The way that like, okay, so
I was talking to Bridget when
I know, because like there's like specific things in this movie that Bridget doesn't like, but not to call you out, I'm sorry.
Not to say that I don't like them, more that they're like
upsetting,
viscerally upsetting.
Yeah, but so Logan was telling Bridget like just a warning, like this movie will upset you, whatever, and so I knew that wasn't directed at me, but then Bridget looked it up on Does the Dog Die, which I didn't want to do because I kind of wanted to go in not knowing. But then like the way that she was talking about it, I thought this movie was gonna like. I spent this entire movie waiting for something egregiously terrible to happen, and I was like, oh okay, like this is just a movie.
No, it's just like my personal triggers.
No, I know, but I thought that there was something more beyond that was going to like upset me deeply.
But I'm so glad you guys liked it. I knew you guys would, but I wanted to be sure that, because if you went in and then that happened, there's a real honest to God chance if you weren't prepared, you'd be like, turn that shit off. We're done with that.
Yeah,
so that's why I was like, I wanted to give you the pre-warning.
That's why Does the Dog Die exists, and like you should look at it.
Yeah, like people's lives are complicated. If you're not ready to see something in a movie, there's nothing wrong with preparing yourself for that.
Yeah, well,
a lot of people want to talk hate, but you should prepare yourself if you.
Yeah, well, like
there's
Does the Dog Die
difficulties.
is really good because it doesn't really give you spoilers, like it gives you a lot of various scenarios that might be something triggering or upsetting to you, and it'll say like, does X happen, and then it'll just say like yes or no. People will vote on it. People like will vote yes or vote no, and obviously they're usually like unanimous because we all saw the same movie, but usually it'll vote like yes or no, and you'll be able to see without seeing the details of what happens unless you want it.
Right, you can see the details. Also, you can set your own specific triggers. I guess if you get like an account, or maybe just like if you use advice enough, you can set specific things that trigger you, and then you can just kind of look at that list of criteria that you've made. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to soon.
Also, if you want to find out that there's, if you want to know if there's boobies in a movie, use MrSkin.com. He'll tell you every movie with boobies in
If
it.
there's boobies,
Yeah,
Hey.
if
I
you're looking
love
for
that.
booby movies. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I just use it like even to know if I'm like emotionally in the mood for something. Like, is this something that I can emotionally handle right now?
Yeah, I feel you. Well, anyway, guys, let's talk about, so next week, Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, and Paranormal Activity Ghost Dimension.
What?
It's
coming to an end, guys.
Yeah, we don't know if there's going to be another video before that, but we'll let you know. We're pretty sure that that's going to be the next one. And then also,
that's kinda looking like
if
what's
you want to make
happening.
sure you're up to date on the movies, Tarantino films, we're going to review all of them eventually. So if that's something you want to get out of the way.
Also, we always announce what we're doing on the videos, but also sometimes in super advance on Instagram at Crosscut Cinema Pod
or Facebook.com/Crosscut Cinema.
and Twitter,
yeah.
at Crosscut Cinema. We'll link everything below.
We've known we were doing this one, so this one's been out like up for a while. That
Yeah.
this is what's happening. When
Yeah,
it's
so
happening.
people will already be well aware that this is going to happen.
Yeah. I kind of, we announced that kind of early on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Which is good. I kind of like us doing that because it gives people, because that's the one thing I hear the most is like, I didn't have time to watch the movie, so I'm going to have to watch it next week.
Follow us
But
on socials.
The way YouTube and Spotify and all these other things work is it really has to do with early views and retention time. So we want you guys to be prepared to watch it when it's released.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys also want to be able to watch it when it comes out. So best way to do that is we'll keep you up to date on what we're going to be reviewing. And you guys can just follow us on those socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be. We'll keep you guys as updated as we have.
Yeah, so the way it's looking now is Paranormal Activity,
The Marked
the
Ones.
Marked Ones, and Ghost Dimension are going to be next.
Mm-hmm.
and then probably Kill Bill after
Volume
that.
1 and 2. I think we should do them together.
We're gonna smush them. We're gonna do them together. And make just
because
we're
we're also experimenting a little bit because it seems like the Tarantino videos have like weird things about them where sometimes they do really well and other times they don't, and we want to figure out if that's just the content of the films or if it's the length time. So obviously Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 is gonna be a longer video because it's essentially 2 movies in one review, and we'll see how the algorithm takes that.
And it honestly just makes sense to do them together.
They really don't. They don't work without each other. They're companion pieces for sure.
So yeah, obviously that'll be next, along with all the other Quentin Tarantino movies. We'll do them eventually. So that'll be happening.
All right, y'all. We love you.
We love you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.